This is a Your Day Code Red Weather Alert.
We're waking up to a code red weather alert. This is a live look at the roads. Right now, the snow is still falling and the roads are slippery, so make sure you give yourself some extra time this morning.
Schools in the Miami Valley are starting to close already, including Beaver Creek, Fairborn City Schools, and Yellow Springs Village. Now, for those of you who still have to go to work or school, we've got live team coverage to help get you there safely this morning.
Let's start with meteorologist Nick Maruziak. Nick, when can we expect the snow to stop?
Yeah, this is going to be the million-dollar question, because I think that there's likely to be snow throughout much of the morning, although we will be watching the back edge of this system. So for right now, the heavy snow is actually starting to peter out. We did get some heavy bands moving through the Boston area. I think what's ending up happening here is it's slamming into some drier air, and it's not necessarily snuffing out all the snow chances, but the heaviest of the heavy snow may just not be reaching the ground. So again, we are watching this rather closely here as the snow continues. Worth pointing out that the biggest issues are going to be this morning in towards the afternoon. That because there's going to be snow falling, plus of course all the slick conditions. As you get into the evening commute, or perhaps maybe what's left of it, because a lot of us are going to be staying home, that's going to be the time period where we could still see some problems. As for today, snow early, tapering off late, so that's your biggest issue. Tonight, the biggest issue is going to be the bitter cold, and there is
directly to your phone. Download the Dayton 24/7 app in Google Play and Apple App Stores. Now let's take a look at some of your photos and video of the snow. Jenny Bowman shared these with us while she was driving in Riverside last night. And you can see definitely quite frosty out there. And of course, we want to see your pictures and videos this morning. This helps us tell the story. Just make sure you're safe while doing it, of course. Scan the QR code on your screen right now. It'll take you to the Chime In page on our website. There you can upload your videos and photos. You can even see them live on the air. This morning, we're learning more about the Trotwood police officer who was taken to the hospital last week after a pickup truck drove into and landed on top of his cruiser.
Quinn sat down with the department's chief yesterday and shares how the officer is doing.
8 days after he was seriously injured in a crash, a Trotwood police officer is now out of the hospital. The department's chief telling me he is in therapy and continuing to recover. Trotwood Police Chief Eric Wilson says the injured officer is a veteran officer. He has been with the department for over a decade and is well loved by everyone. Chief Wilson tells me the officer runs Trotwood's traffic services unit and does a great job. It's unclear, though, if or when the officer will return to work, but the chief says he and his department look forward to that day if that is what he chooses.
Right now, our focus is getting the officer back healthy and making sure all the needs he has is taken care of, and that his well-being is taken care of. Coming back to work, that's minor, that's secondary. I mean, the job is never going nowhere, so it's here. So I felt no need to enter into those type of discussions with the person.
Chief Wilson also commended the responding officer, saying he is very proud of how they handled the situation.
You make sure that aid is rendered to all parties involved, even the guy who caused all of this mess.
He thanked the other agencies for their continued help and support and asks everyone to keep his officer in their thoughts as he continues to recover. The man who police say started this all, James Skirvin, has officially been charged for the actions that led up to the chase and crash, which the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation is still currently investigating. Montgomery County Prosecutor Matt Heck says more charges are likely, but Skirvin is scheduled to be arraigned Tuesday, January 23rd. Back to you.
We now know the names of two people who are suspected of setting a house on fire back in September. 38-year-old Stephanie Cahill, Fairborn, and 30-year-old Nicholas Kelch of Greenville are accused of aggravated arson. Investigators say a Bethel Township home has been destroyed after a suspiciously caught fire. Right now, Cahill is out on bond, and Kelch remains in the Miami County Jail after police arrested him for trying to leave the area. Two of our producers volunteered to judge the Business Professionals of America contest yesterday evening at Centerville High School. Our morning producer, Allie, and one of our executive producers, Nina, got to judge local high schoolers' newscasts and podcasts. Our judges say everyone did an amazing job. Come work for us. Come hang out with us, kids.
Yeah, we love that.
Fun.
Our time right now is 5:09. Don't forget you can get any school delays or closings scrolling right now at the bottom of your screen.
We now want to take a live look at the Troy traffic circle. You can see it as a winter wonderland, but don't let it fool you. It is quite hazardous out on our roadways. We've got live team coverage coming up.
You're watching Your Day.
Breaking news, and this one is concerned with the south side of 75 over by 675. 75 South, the on-ramp to 675 is shut down right now. That is what we know so far. Again, the exit ramp is closed. At the present point, OGO does not have any information on when it will be open. It was due to a crash. So again, if you are trying to travel this morning, very difficult travel conditions, but 75 south to 675 is shut down. So again, if you need to get that way, a couple different ways you could go. You could take 725, that's Miamisburg Centerville Road, take that over in towards Yankee Street and take it that way. Or if you're coming from the south or a different direction, you could take Austin Boulevard to Yankee and go up that way. But again, 75 south towards 675 is shut down as of right now. Now we're going to switch things over from traffic to weather, where of course we are under a code red.
This is a Your Day Code Red Weather Alert.
All right, still seeing some periods of heavy snow as of right now. Xenia, Hamilton, Lebanon, and Wilmington, probably the hardest. Now, I want to turn your attention to this area. That's where it's coming down, those deeper, darker shades of blue. That's a sign of where things are quite heavy. Now, as we look out to the west and southwest, there's still those deeper, darker blues out around Bloomington. So for the next, I would dare say, hour, 2-3 hours, we could actually see the intense snowfall still continue. In terms of this morning, it's probably going to stick around through mid-morning, maybe even late morning. Once you get to that point, the signs have been for this to become much more showery in nature. So this is going to become much more of couple of showers here, couple of showers there, and then as we get into the afternoon and evening, we'll ditto that. Overnight tonight, if we do get any clearing, we're going to bottom out. I don't really expect any clearing, but at the present point, we could still have temperatures feeling as cold as the teens below. That is where you start talking about dangerously cold wind chills for tomorrow morning. And during the daytime, I think at best we're going to feel like the single digits because winds will be 10 to 20 miles per hour. And what we will also see is the threat of a few snow showers. Again, well, the basic of today is the snow early causing problems. Tomorrow it's those bitter, and dare I even say brutally cold wind chills early on. Worth pointing out that these temperatures, both days single digits. The difference is between Saturday and Sunday morning. Saturday, you're going to have to contend with the winds 10 to 20 miles per hour. Sunday, they may be a little bit lower. Worth pointing out Sunday, the sunshine comes out. Warmer weather next week. But today, this morning, we've got some big issues, not only when it comes to the snow on the ground, but again, travel issues as well. And we'll continue to keep you updated on those throughout the morning.
Coming up this week on Full Measure with Cheryl Atkinson, Florida's Surgeon General recently calling for a halt to use of COVID vaccines due to safety questions, while the federal government is still heavily promoting them to adults and children alike. Meanwhile, concerns of vaccine injuries continue to grow. Maddie DeGaray, age 12, at the time was the first COVID vaccine studies on kids nearly 4 years ago. Her mother describes the serious illnesses that Maddie came down with after her second shot.
She had like what she described as electrical shocks going up and down her spine. She said she felt like her heart was being ripped out. So chest pain, she had severe abdominal pain. She was hunched over when she walked through the door. Her toes and her fingers were white, and they were like, when you touched them, they were ice cold and painful.
Did you think right away that this was probably a vaccine reaction?
100%. There was nothing wrong with her prior to that.
This week on Full Measure, Cheryl Atkinson examines what happened to Maddie and how the government and vaccine maker responded. You can watch Full Measure with Cheryl Atkinson this Sunday at 7:30 a.m. on ABC 22 or at 10:30 p.m. on Fox 45.
Our time right now is 5:17. Still to come.
A shot at success when it comes to fighting cancer. I'm Liz Bonus. We explain how this therapy works and how it made a difference for her, perhaps forever. It's just ahead.
We now want to give you a live look at our roads from the first warning weather vehicle. You can see slushy conditions out there. We're tracking all the weather here in the Miami Valley with live team coverage coming up.
You're watching Your Day.
We are following two breaking traffic situations. The first one, I-75 southbound near 675. Just called dispatch, got word that is an overturned semi. There was a diesel spill, no injuries, but again, that could be a mess for this morning. At the present point, there's also an incident over by US 35 at Kiwi Street. You can see the flashing lights there in the distance. Now, luckily at this point, we do have a lot of people either staying at home or not yet beginning your morning commute. But again, this is something that we told you would likely be a problem, which is slick conditions out on the roads. We do need to be on the lookout for any type of slick spots if you have to travel. I'm not saying you can't travel, but give yourself plentiful extra time and give yourself a lot of extra space because, again, starting to see a couple of incidents pop up this morning.
This is a Your Day Code Red Weather Alert.
All right, and again, we're talking about traffic becoming an issue because of the weather. Still continuing to see periods of snow. At the present point, though, we have had just a little bit of a lull up around Troy, Urbana. So there may be some spots that aren't getting quite as heavily impacted by that snow. But again, today, a day where it is going to be problematic, especially early on. The biggest issue is going to be the fact that the snow continues to fall. One thing that we have also seen is reduced visibility. This is the view from Miami, and I mentioned this yesterday, and I thought it would be good to show you. You can't see into the valley itself, so visibility is significantly limited. That's not necessarily due to anything other than the snow, but the wind is probably not helping at the current stage. In terms of visibility, and you can use this as somewhat of a proxy for where the heaviest snow is. There we go. 2.5 miles in visibility in Dayton, but 1.5 at Troy, 1.7 in Springfield, and 1.5 in Miamisburg. And again, with the winds not howling, but the winds still staying up, we are going to continue to see perhaps a little bit more blowing and drifting snow. And for more on what we're seeing out on the roads, let's head to our weather vehicle with Tim. Tim, what can you tell us about what you've seen as you've kind of traversed the area this morning?
Hey guys, yeah, we are out right now. We're heading out towards Beaver Creek, the Fairborn area, and it's really spotty. So for instance, right now, I'll turn the camera around. This area right here, we've got a couple of spots where the road's clear like this. It's kind of easy to drive on, and then a couple feet out, you'll hit a large patch of snow. We start sliding around a little bit, especially when you get stopped at those red lights. But the ODOT teams are out here. They're doing their best. I've seen a few plows. I've seen them out here treating the roads. So it is definitely a bit slick, and it will continue to stay that way as we see the snow this morning and those temperatures staying below freezing. So if you have to head out today, definitely want to use some caution. I'm going to toss things up to Lydia now, who is in Vandalia.
We're living longer, but spending more days being sick. Medical advances are turning fatal illnesses into chronic ones, and some health problems are hitting us early and more widely. The estimated average proportion of life spent in good health declined to 83.6% in 2021, down from 86% in 1990. That's according to the Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation's Global Burden of Disease study from the University of Washington. Well, a new study reveals that women are consuming higher amounts of plant-based proteins, and they experience fewer chronic diseases and maintain better health as they age. This is according to Harvard-based Nurses Health study, and the research showed a significant link between plant protein intake and reduced risk of heart disease, cancer, diabetes, and cognitive decline. Well, a majority of people in the Empower and OnePoll survey admit they currently stress over their finances at least once a month, and nearly 1 in 5 say they worry about money every day. Over half of Americans say they still rely on family and friends for financial support, especially for help paying rent, internet, and a phone bill. From the NASDAQ market site, I'm Jane King. Here's your health.
A wife and mother credits a breakthrough therapy with helping her own body fight off cancer. Medical reporter Liz Bonus explains how it works.
Hey there, hello to you. When other therapies did not appear to work against her type of cancer, Patty Livermore recently had a chance to enroll in a clinical trial. It has given her a whole new shot at long-term success. As a wife and mother, Patty had always lived an active lifestyle. One day, this avid sports fan noticed a few symptoms that didn't seem quite right.
I started with a swollen groin and eventually went for a CAT scan, and that's when they diagnosed the cancer.
It was a type of lymphoma, she told me, a cancer that starts in the body's immune system. She did well initially with traditional treatment.
I was in remission for 2 years at the beginning, following the chemo.
But when evidence of cancer returned,
that whole area are enlarged lymph nodes.
Dr. James Essel, the medical director for Ohio's Oncology Hematology Care, or OHC, at the Jewish hospital Mercy Health, offered Patty the option of a therapy. This shot every 2 weeks into her stomach. As this Amgen YouTube animation shows, it provides a BiTE molecule, which stands for bispecific T-cell engager. It attaches to 2 proteins, one on T cells, which helps your own immune system fight back, the other on specific cancer cells.
Think of it as 2 magnets. One hooks directly to T cells and one hooks directly to the cancer. It sticks on the cancer cell and literally pulls the T cells in.
For Patty, it's worked.
I'm starting to live life a little more unencumbered.
Dr. Essel told me her cancer is in complete remission. As for the future,
we'll maintain Patty on this as long as she stays in remission and as long as she's tolerated and there's no untoward side effects.
we do have a 1-888-649-4800 phone number if you or someone you love may need more information on this trial or perhaps others being conducted. Patty's team now following her outcomes, and this therapy does show promise for other types of cancer, including prostate cancer. With your health news, I'm Liz Bonus reporting.
Our time right now is 5:28, still to come.
We're live here in Troy where we're going to bring you more on snowfall and road conditions this morning.
You're watching Your Day.
This is a Your Day Code Red Weather Alert.
We have a Code Red weather alert as you're waking up this snowy morning. A live look at our interstates from our ODOT cameras. The conditions are already causing school closures and delays. And now you're taking a live look from our first warning weather vehicle as we're heading to a crash along I-75 and 675 we've been telling you about this morning. You can see the roads messy, which is why Fairborn, Beaver Creek, and other schools have already closed this morning. Those school closings are scrolling at the bottom of your screen.
Now, for those of you who still have to go to work or school, we've got live team coverage to help you get there safely.
Let's start with meteorologist Nick Maruziak. And Nick, what does it look like for the rest of this morning?
Well, it looks like periods of snow and potentially even some periods of heavier snow. This is the wide view. Want to point out that what we are going to be looking for is any type of dry air to move in. That's a very typical pattern when you get this cold. It's cold and dry on the backside, which shoves the snow out of the region. That being said, it's still a long ways off. So unfortunately for those looking for any type of relief, that's not going to happen. And we have still continued to see this snow pick up at times, and I know it's not showing it on this particular radar view, but I think this one with just another radar dish added will give you an idea. The heaviest snow is actually right now over the Wilmington, Lebanon, Springboro, Xenia area, so that is where we're going to see the biggest issues. Of course, the biggest issue is going to happen with your commute outside with the snow falling and slippery conditions, and that's already what we've seen so far this morning. Here's a live view at our cameras. We did have an incident at 35 at Kiwi Street. We also have one at 75 at 675. There we got a report of an overturned semi-hauling diesel. That is, as of right now, shutting the on-ramp from 75 south to 675. And then over on 35 over by Kiwi Street, again, there's that incident. The right lane is blocked in that area. So again, the incident's starting to pile up here as we continue with what is going to be a very busy and perhaps even dangerous morning commute for some of us.
We're continuing our live team coverage with a look at the Troy traffic circle. You can see here lots of snow on the roads.
Yeah, beautiful but treacherous this morning. Let's check in now with Lydia Bice. She's our Miami County correspondent this morning. And Lydia, you've been on the roads for about an hour now. What does it look like out there?
That's right, guys. So we just drove from Vandalia to Troy. So I'm right here in downtown Troy right now. And like you said, it is treacherous a little bit, but it is beautiful. It's still coming down. And I'm going to step out of the way here. I'll show you a little town square there with the flags blowing in the wind and the snow falling. Like I said, it is really beautiful. Now, obviously, we took I-75 from Vandalia to Troy this morning, and I will say 75 is pretty well cleared off. Roads aren't too bad there. And then the side streets, there are still some slick spots there. We've seen Vandalia snowplows and Troy snowplows in the last 30 minutes hard at work this morning. One just drove by actually right there. So they're working on the side streets. I will say those are obviously more slick than 75. Again, ODOT, the Ohio Department of Transportation, they're in charge of plowing 75 and 70. I've seen at least 2 or 3 ODOT trucks on our little journey so far this morning, so they're taking care of the major highways. Again, most important thing for anybody who does have to drive this morning, please leave early enough to give yourself some extra time so you're not rushing, you're not speeding in case there are some slick spots out there still, and try to avoid going around plow trucks, while they're busy trying to keep us all safe. So now I'm going to send things over to meteorologist Tim Boyd, who's in our weather vehicle looking out on the roadways. Tim?
Thank you, Lydia. Yeah, we're right now getting on 675 at the moment. We're heading to that accident at 75 and 675. Now, I'll give you a shot of the roads here. Now, as Lydia said, the highways aren't too bad. It's kind of on and off, honestly. We see spots who are a little bit more snow covered, usually in areas right where a little bit of a heavier burst of snow has happened. You can see right here a perfect example of that, completely snow covered, and a couple feet back there it was pretty clear. So they're out here, they're trying to treat these roads, but they are a little slick, even in this weather vehicle that we try to prepare to be out in these conditions. We are still sliding around. So definitely want to use some caution when you're heading out. If you have to be out on the roads today, definitely put yourself between some space between you and others. And as Lydia said, give yourself enough time, so make sure you're leaving home early. And just be safe out on the roads. I'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
All right, developing right now, we have gotten a ton of school closings just into our newsroom. The biggest one, Dayton Public Schools, just closed today. Also added to a list, Kettering City Schools closed as well. Piqua, you have Springfield City Schools. Of course, you can see all these on our website right now, and also scrolling at the bottom of your screen. Of course, we will continue to bring you updates from the Breaking News Center all morning long. To get breaking news push alerts sent directly to your phone, download the Dayton 24/7 Now app in Google Play and Apple App Stores.
The Uvalde school massacre could have been stopped sooner. That's what the Justice Department says in a nearly 600-page report that is now public. It's been almost 2 years after the Robb Elementary School shooting, 21 people dead. Federal officials say police who responded to the active shooter, quote, demonstrated no urgency, end quote, and didn't handle the active shooter situation properly. Family members of the victims reacting tonight.
Look forward to seeing the report because we think it will validate a lot of our feelings already as to what transpired and what didn't transpire, what should have happened.
Hopefully that this will bring some changes and some accountability that we have been fighting and asking for since the very beginning.
I hope that the failures end today and the local officials do what wasn't done that day, do right by the victims and survivors of Robb Elementary, terminations, criminal prosecutions.
Kimberly Matarubio's 10-year-old daughter, Lexi, was among the 19 children killed in the 2022 attack. She also urged state and federal leaders to enact sensible gun laws. The DOJ blames failed communication, failed leadership, inadequate technology, and inadequate training.
In emotional remarks, U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland recounts the 77 minutes officers failed to enter the classroom where Robb Elementary students and teachers were locked in with an active shooter.
The victims and survivors of the mass shooting at Robb Elementary on May 24th, 2022 deserve better. First and foremost, the 19 children and their 2 teachers who were stolen from their loved ones should be here today.
The DOJ report details how many officers didn't know who was in charge or what they should do, or whether the active shooter was dead or alive. They treated the incident as a barricaded suspect instead of an active shooter, which Garland says was the most significant failure. Officers also failed to correctly inform parents about their children's status or properly care for the wounded.
President Biden is also reacting to the report with a call for gun safety reforms. In a statement, Biden says, in part, no community should ever have to go through what the Uvalde community suffered. Adding, Congress must now pass common sense gun safety laws to ensure that mass shootings like this one don't happen in the first place.
Community leaders across the Miami Valley joining together to combat hunger in the area. The Super Bowl of Caring is helping to eliminate child hunger in Dayton. Our partners will be accepting food and monetary donations throughout the area. Those donations will be then distributed to 3 local organizations: the Food Bank for the Love of Children, or FLOC, and the House of Bread. You can help by taking out your phone, scanning the QR code on your screen to make a donation. You have until February 12th.
Our time right now is 5:39. Don't forget you can get your headlines scrolling at the bottom of your screen, and there are several that have just come in. So we will continue to keep you updated. Dayton Public Schools, Kettering, Centerville, they're coming in hot.
Yeah, they are closed this morning, so keep that in mind as you make plans for your day. Taking a live look now from our Eco Plumber Skycam. That is from our Miamisburg Skycam. Hazy, wintry start to this morning. We've got a live interview coming up with ODOT in just a matter of minutes to talk about the crew's efforts to keep our roads safe.
You're watching Your Day.
This is a Your Day Code Red Weather Alert.
You're taking a live look at the Troy traffic circle right now. You can see roads definitely a little bit treacherous this morning. I'm joined now by Nick. And Nick, looking at this, there's not a ton of snow, but it's really, with the cold temperatures, made for the perfect storm on the roadways.
I was going to say that's exactly what the big factor is. Don't forget, the last few times we've had snow temperatures, not only at the surface, but the roads themselves, 33, 34. It's the first time that we've had a consistent cold push of air before the snow, and with temperatures at the surface in the 20s, anything that does start to melt away is refreezing. That's where you get some slick and icy spots to develop.
Yeah, and a lot of schools already making the wise choice to cancel this morning.
Yeah, and exactly. And if you're beginning your morning commute, it doesn't look exactly great outside. We are still continuing to see periods of heavy snow. Let's go over to the weather wall where, again, those snow showers are coming down quite heavily over by Wilmington. Starting to see, maybe not dry air is the right term, but at least a drier spell out around Richmond. So that's something that we should be on the lookout for, because that may end up giving us a little bit of a reprieve. And don't forget something, the last thing you really want to do is have ODOT crews fighting the snow on the ground and snow continuing to fall, especially in some of these bigger systems. Sometimes the snow falling can just about get to the point where no matter what you do, you're still going to have snow on the ground, and it's just going to keep stacking up. Now, as for this morning, based on visibility, based on what you saw the picture there, I don't think it's one of those style events. This is an event that is quite nasty. It is a little bit treacherous to drive at best, and some spots are just downright horrid. But for right now, we are still continuing to see these wind speeds 5 to 10. So it's not just the snow that's going to be a problem. It's also the reduced visibility, and it's those slick spots. So again, this morning, travel issues and problems when it comes to the weather. We'll continue to keep you updated on both of those throughout the morning.
Our time right now is 5:44. Here is a live look at the roads from the first warning weather vehicle. You can see that the roads are very spotty this morning. I mean, it's hard to see those lines out there. So keep that in mind as you head out the door this morning.
You're watching Your Day.
The Dayton 24/7 Now News app, brought to you by the Jeff Schmidt Auto Group.
This is a Your Day Code Red Weather Alert.
All right, we are looking at right for now a cloudy, foggy, dreary start to your morning, but also a treacherous one as you head out the door. And the big question mark is just how long is this going to last? Well, of course, that's what I get paid here to do. And, you know, we're looking at probably the next hour or 2 hours with some periods of maybe not necessarily the heaviest of heavy snow, but some periods of heavy snow embedded. And then from there, it becomes a lot more spotty as we get to daybreak and beyond. So I would say up until maybe 7, 8 or that time period, we are going to continue to see the snow. And then from there, it becomes a little bit more spotty. Even this afternoon and evening, I would not rule out an isolated snow shower somewhere in the area, but we aren't going to be looking at necessarily as widespread of snow. Tomorrow, the big concern is going to be bitter cold. We could see teens and 20s below. But again, the big storyline this morning is the snow and the subsequent travel impacts. And already we have seen a bunch of crashes out on the roads.
We now want to give you a live look at our ODOT cameras this morning as road crews are out right now working to keep our highways clear. Matt Bruning from ODOT joins us live this morning. Matt, thank you so much for joining us. Busy morning.
It is a busy morning. It's been a busy night for our ODOT crews. We've got like 1,200 of them out across the state. So they have been on those 12-hour shifts really in many cases since midnight. So they've been cranking all night while a lot of us have been sleeping.
Yeah, rocking and rolling. Now, I appreciate you taking time for us this morning. So what are the crews seeing out there on the roads right now as they work to keep them clear?
Yeah, I mean, our interstates aren't that bad. I mean, it's slick out there, but we are making some progress. The problem is we're still seeing snow coming down, and that will continue to persist really through that morning commute. So that, as we've been telling you, that Friday morning commute, it's going to be rough. It's going to be rough. We're already seeing slower traffic speeds from Cincinnati all the way across southeast Ohio, up in the Cleveland area. A lot of very heavy snow coming down right now. So no matter where you're traveling in the state of Ohio, it's going to be a slow go. Whatever time it took you to travel on Thursday morning to work, double or triple it to get to work this morning.
Now, I saw an alarming stat that you tweeted out yesterday that there have already been 8 crashes involving ODOT trucks this year alone. So obviously we want to be able to keep drivers safe, truck drivers safe. So what's the best practice for when you're out driving and you see an ODOT truck at work?
Well, first of all, we did get another update yesterday that there were actually 9 plows that have been struck so far this year, 5 of them on Tuesday alone. So we really need to have people slow down, pay attention, give our crews room to work. Don't be tailgating the snow plows. That is not going to get you anywhere any faster. Don't try to pass them. We've seen that happen a couple of times, and that's caused a couple of crashes. So just give them the space they need to get the job done. They're out there trying to make sure these roads are safe for all of us. All we ask you to do is to keep those drivers safe as well and give them the room they need to work.
Yeah, certainly want to keep everybody safe out on the roadways. All right, Matt, looking ahead now over the next 24 hours, clearly very cold out there. Are there any concerns about the elements making it difficult to keep the roadways clear?
Yeah, I mean, our salt is effective down to about 20 degrees pavement temperature. If we get below that, we have to start adding in some additional things like calcium chloride, Apex Seed, Beet Heat are a couple of products we use. And so those products will help us activate that salt at a lower temperature. So that'll certainly be helpful to us, but it does make it more challenging if we get much colder temperatures.
Matt, we appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule this morning when we appreciate all the work that the road crews are doing right now. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Appreciate the time. Thanks.
Our time right now is 5:51. Taking another live look. Oh, you're watching Your Day.
This is a Your Day Code Red Weather Alert.
All right, good morning. We are still continuing to track the snow as it moves across the area. There is this heavy area of snow that is basically parked over the southern part of our area, so Xenia, Oxford, Hamilton. But what I have noticed here over the last, let's say, half hour is this area that's out to the west. This is what I would call a drier air mass, and because of that, it may end up doing enough that we don't get some of the high-end totals, but still, there's going to be some spots that are going to be quite slick. And part of the reason is these temperatures. We are looking at, right for now, temperatures in the 20s, low 20s, mid 20s. What that means is we're starting to talk about these temperatures cold enough that it freezes on contact as opposed to when it's 32, 33, 34. And the last thing we really want to get stuck in is that these wind chills, they're in the teens and 20s. So at the present point, if you are traveling, make sure if you do have to travel, you have an emergency kit in your car. Again, right for now, we're not seeing necessarily the type of conditions where it's a shut it down style snow event. And I'm not quite sure we'll get to that point, but it's very nasty outside. For the rest of this morning, slowly tapering off snow showers will continue to remain mid-20s. So that's why I have concerns about the roads even into this evening and overnight tonight. And frankly, by tomorrow, I think the focus isn't necessarily because of any type of, let's say, residual issues, but it's really going to be because of how dang cold it is going to feel with temperatures in the teens and 20s below in terms of feels like. Now on the roads this morning, we've seen a lot of this over at 35 at Kiwi Street. Slow going traffic taking their time. Did have two incidents, and they're both worth pointing out. 35 East near that Kiwi Street, that may have been clear, but the big issue is 75 South over at 675. Within the last hour and a half, did get a report of a overturned or a semi. I'm not quite sure. We may actually be able to pick that up on our camera there at Lyons Road. See if we could zoom in on that. That may be your incident there. So again, that is where right now 75 South to 675 is shut down, that exit ramp, due to a single vehicle crash.
Alrighty guys, we are out in the weather vehicle right now, and we are on 675 heading to 75 to see that accident. But talking about road conditions at this time, very spotty, definitely slushy out there, but very fine grain snow here. We're not looking at a heavy, large flakes. These are very small flakes. So if there's less traffic on the road, definitely accumulating quickly, making for slushy conditions. We are starting to see some more cars out on the road. Looks like people are starting to wake up and move on with their day, head to work. And I think most of the schools are closed this morning, so most people just heading to work now. Plows are out here trying to get the roads cleared out. The highways aren't too bad. Again, a little slippery, and those back roads are definitely a bit more slippery as they have not been treated yet or plowed yet. I'm sure they'll get to those later on in the day. So if you're heading out, make sure to give yourself enough time and put some space between you and others.
We're here in downtown Troy where the snow is still coming down. Coming up, we'll share how the roadways are looking up here.
You're watching Your Day.
This is a Your Day Code Red Weather Alert.
We are waking up to a code red weather alert. This is a live look at the roads. Right now, the snow is still falling and the roads are very slippery out there. And those slippery conditions are causing major issues on the road, including this crash on the 75 South ramp to 675. We're told a semi slid off the road. Right now, the ramp is closed, which could impact your commute.
Now, because of these messy roads, we're getting lots of school closings this morning, including Dayton Public, Centerville, Kettering, Beaver Creek, and Fairborn City Schools, just to name a few. All of our school closings and delays are scrolling right now at the bottom of your screen.
And now for those of you who still have to go to work or school, we've got live team coverage to help you get there safely. Let's start with meteorologist Nick Maruziak. Nick, what does the rest of the morning look like? Because it looks like the snow's still coming down pretty hard out there.
Yeah, it does look like the snow will continue throughout times of this morning. We're still continuing to see those light blues and deeper, darker blues as well, which is indicative of, again, that heavier bands of snow. At the present point, though, what we are also watching for is a little bit of drier air out around Muncie, Richmond. I'm not saying that that's going to put an end to the snow chances, but it may end up reducing some of the heaviest of the snow and may end up limiting just how much we ultimately get. Either way, though, right for now, this is the view in Miamisburg as you look down across 75. Of course, this is from the top of the hospital there. The biggest issue when it comes to today, tough morning travel all across the board. AM commute, evening commute, slick, perhaps even icy roads. We are going to be looking at temperatures today in the mid-20s, which is why we do expect so many issues when it comes to travel. And again, we have seen them. First of all, the big issue is 75 and 675. That, of course, where the exit ramp, and Tim is roughly in the ballpark of that area. He's going closer to that. Other than that, right for now, the earlier incident over by Kiwi Street seems to have been removed. And when I look beyond Dayton and look to the north, it's snow covered, but we're not seeing any type of crashes up around Miami County over towards Shelby. So at least at this present point, we seem to be crash free with the exception of that one near 675.
And we're continuing our live team coverage with a look at road conditions right now. You can see just kind of a bit of a mess out there. Some of the roads looking better than others, but here is where the crash we're dealing with. So you can see the semi just off to the side right there.
Yeah, let's check in with Lydia By. She's up in Miami County right now. Lydia, what are things looking like in your neck of the woods?
Yeah, guys, so I'm here in downtown Troy, and it's honestly beautiful. The snow is still coming down. It's super pretty, the flurries that are coming down, but I know that it's not that way for everyone. You know, the roads are still bad in some spots. We took 75 to get here. Obviously, we just came from Vandalia a little bit ago. 75 was pretty clear, luckily. The side streets, a little, slippery here and there, but we've seen Troy plow trucks numerous different times drive by while we've been sitting here. And then in Vandalia we saw some. We know the city of Dayton has them going, of course. So I'll step out of the way here to show you that the snow's still coming down. But again, be extra careful, especially on the side streets as plow trucks are out there working. Try to avoid going around them. Obviously, they're working to keep us safe and get the snow off the roads. So give yourself extra time if you do have to, leave this morning. Oh, there's one driving by again right now. But yeah, you can still see the snow's coming down, and it sounds like, it's going to keep going here for a little while. So try to stay safe. I know yesterday I spoke with the Department of Public Works from the city of Dayton, and they told me that they had 7,000 tons of salt ready to go for today. So of course, all the communities in our area are working to plow the roads, have the salt ready to go to keep us safe. So now I'm going to send things over to meteorologist Timothy Boyd. He's in our weather vehicle. He's, out there on the roads, keeping track of roadways as well. So Tim.
Thank you, Lydia. We are actually right now at the accident at 675 and 75. I will pan the camera over to that so you can see it. There is the semi getting onto the on-ramp for 675. Again, like they have all been saying this morning, closed down the ramp, slid off the side of the road. It looks like it smashed into the side of the hill. They do have another lift out here trying to get this thing moved quickly so they can get this ramp reopened, but again, that is closed right now. Roads across the entire area definitely very slippery. We have got snow covered highways, back roads. It's kind of spotty. It depends on where you are. Like Alex said on the cams, the ODOT cams, depends on which roads you're looking at. Some of them have been treated pretty well and are staying clear, while others are collecting snow pretty quickly. But ODOT has been out here in full force. We have seen tons of crews treating and plowing, trying to make it safe for you guys to get to and from work and school today. Back to you guys.
We're seeing some delays already this morning from some workplaces, actually. Wright-Patterson Air Force Base taking X to announce a 2-hour delay due to the snow. They're advising employees to use extreme caution while driving. Now, there are also a long list of school closures. Those are scrolling right now at the bottom of your screen.
And between the freezing temps, the snow, and icy roads, the extreme weather could impact your morning commute. AAA wants to remind you of driver safety tips before you head out the door. First, you should wipe off all the snow on your car. That includes your roof, hood, and trunk. Not doing so could cause another driver to lose sight of the road. You should also clean the headlights and taillights. Next, slow down and leave extra space between you and the car in front of you to give yourself enough time to stop. Officials say to keep 3 times more distance away than normal. Also, you should never use cruise control on slippery roads and avoid changing lanes when you can.
This morning, the entire state is seeing snow. ODOT has nearly 1,200 crews out clearing roads right now. Several inches of snow are expected into the weekend, and northern Ohio is getting the most. ODOT officials want to remind you to watch for snow plows. At least 9 trucks have been hit since the beginning of the year. We will continue to bring you updates from the Breaking News Center all morning long. To get breaking news push alerts sent directly to your phone, download the Dayton 24/7 Now app in Google Play and Apple App Stores.
And now let's take a look at some of your photos and videos of the snow. Jenny Bowman shared this with us while driving in Riverside last night. You can see just the ice layered up on that window there. So definitely keep that in mind. Again, here's a video also showing kind of what people are seeing. Yeah, you can see the snow out there on the ground. So, of course, we want to see how you're enjoying this snow this morning. So just scan the QR code on your screen. It will take you to the Chime In page on our website. There you can upload your photos and videos. You may even see them here on air.
This morning, we're learning more about the Trotwood police officer who was taken to the hospital last week after a pickup truck drove into and landed on top of his cruiser.
Gwen Falloon sat down with the department's chief yesterday and shares how the officer is doing.
8 days after he was seriously injured in a crash, a Trotwood police officer is now out of the hospital. The department's chief telling me he is in therapy and continuing to recover. Trotwood Police Chief Eric Wilson says the injured officer is a veteran officer. He has been with the department for over a decade and is well loved by everyone. Chief Wilson tells me the officer runs Trotwood's traffic services unit and does a great job. It's unclear, though, if or when the officer will return to work, but the chief says he and his department look forward to that day if that is what he chooses.
Right now, our focus is getting the officer back healthy and making sure all the needs he has is taken care of and that his well-being is taken care of. Coming back to work, that's minor, that's secondary. I mean, the job is never going nowhere, so it's here. So I felt no need to enter into those type of discussions with the person.
Chief Wilson also commended the responding officers, saying he is very proud of how they handled the situation.
You make sure that aid is rendered to all parties involved, even the guy who caused all of this mess.
He thanked the other agencies for their continued help and support and asks everyone to keep his officer in their thoughts as he continues to recover. The man who police say started this all, James Skirvin, has officially been charged for the actions that led up to the chase and crash, which the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation is still currently investigating. Montgomery County Prosecutor Matt Heck says more charges are likely, but Skirvin is scheduled to be arraigned Tuesday, January 23rd. Back to you.
We now know the names of 2 people who are suspected of setting a house on fire back in September. 38-year-old Stephanie Cahill of Fairborn and 30-year-old Nicholas Kelch of Greenville are accused of aggravated arson. Investigators say a Bethel Township home has been destroyed after it suspiciously caught fire. Cahill's out on bond and Kelch remains in the Miami County Jail after police arrested him for trying to leave the area. And 2 of our producers volunteered to judge the Business Professionals of America contest yesterday evening at Centerville High School. One of our producers, Allie. And our executive producer, Nina, got to judge local high schoolers' newscasts and podcasts. Our judge says everybody did an amazing job, and certainly proud of our producers here.
Yeah, definitely. You'll love to see it. Yeah. All right, our time right now is 6:10. Don't forget you can get your school closings and delays at the bottom of your screen all morning long, even during commercials, and there is a very long list of them.
Yeah, almost every school is impacted this morning. You're taking a live look right now at our sky cam looking over the Miamisburg area. Not only is it snowy out there, but it's also hazy. So keep an eye on the roads this morning. We've got you covered all morning long.
You're watching Your Day.
This is a Your Day Code Red Weather Alert.
All right, good morning. We are dealing with periods of snow. One thing that the National Weather Service just talked about was there is still the potential for more measurable snow, but the heavy snow may end up just missing our area. And based on radar, I would have to say that it seems likely that maybe a little bit of a lull here is possible. So that would certainly be good news, maybe not necessarily the best news, which would be no snow at all, unless you're a kid, of course. But, you know, we are talking about perhaps heavy snow missing us more be a northern Kentucky problem. So this is the view right for now. And one thing that we have been watching is we have been continuing to track the periods of snow by looking at visibility. Anytime you get underneath 1 mile, that's a heavy snow. Some of this could be also influenced by blowing snow, but at the present point with winds 5 to 10 miles per hour, it is not like it is too bad in terms of wind speeds. But later on tonight, it does look like the winds will pick up, and with temperatures crashing due to the snow and clearer skies, it is going to be a morning where we'll probably see it feel like the teens below. Now, if you are traveling, we have a bunch of incidents to talk about. We've got I-75 South. That area, that is right by 675. That we have an overturned semi. Tim is nearby to that. Also have an incident on 35. This as you head westbound off of 675 over towards Woodman. You can actually just pick that up if you're top of the screen. I'm not quite sure if we're going to be able to pick it up here. You probably just see some flashing lights, but that's the general vicinity of that. We did get reports of one on 70 and 75, but I have not seen any sort of delays in that area, and as of right now it doesn't seem like that is affecting things. But again, multiple incidents this morning as you head out on the roads, or perhaps maybe you're going to stay inside. Maybe a wiser choice right for now as crews still continue to battle the snow.
Our time right now is 6:15. Taking a live look at our Troy traffic circle cam. You can see the roads are wet, snowy, and definitely icy. We have Lydia Bice out there. She'll bring us the latest just ahead.
You're watching Your Day.
This is a Your Day Code Red Weather Alert.
All right, here's the view. Wow, is this a view and a half? It tells you the story of this morning's snow, because the snow isn't necessarily the heaviest I've ever seen, but what you are seeing is reduced visibility. I mean, you can't even see where the valley cuts off, much less deep into the valley. So gives you an idea. We're probably under about 2 miles of visibility, maybe even closer to 1 or a half mile here in Miamisburg. Obviously, we're still continuing to see some heavy snow showers, and that's, I think, what we're actually getting over the top of us right for now. Out to the west, there is a little bit of a lull developing out around Muncie. It's not like I expect it to completely shut off, but there is at least a chance that we don't get as much snow as, let's say, the more consistently hit areas. Either way, right for now, snow is likely through. I would dare say 8, 9 this morning. Again, you may get a period where it shuts off for half hour, or maybe it's just flurries in the air as opposed to sticking down. But either way, this will continue to move out, will become snow showers during the afternoon and the evening. Really not looking at any type of heavy duty snowfall for Saturday morning. It's worth pointing out that these temperatures will end up feeling like they are in the teens below, which means, yet again, we're going code red for Saturday, not due to snow actually this go around. Instead, it is due to the cold, and I do mean bitter and even brutally cold. So code red this morning, travel issues abound. In fact, let's go over to the traffic center and we'll talk about those traffic issues right now. Again, there is the problems over by 75 and 675, and then over on 35 near 835. It does look like at least a couple lanes are closed and there is a backlog. So we're dealing with that, dealing with the snow falling. It is a mess across portions of the area.
And we're continuing our live team coverage with a look at the Troy traffic circle. Road crews are out there working really hard to try to make sure that the roads are clearing up, but you're still going to hit a lot of spots that are not looking good.
Yeah. Lydia Bice is actually down at the Troy traffic circle for us this morning. Lydia, what are you seeing in terms of road conditions out there?
Yeah, guys, actually, photographer Mickey and I just drove down the street in between live shots for a couple minutes, and we went over a bridge, which obviously, you know, always ices before the roadways, but it was pretty slippery. So the side streets are pretty slippery still. Be extra careful, especially on that bridge over here by the, main Troy circle here. Now I'm going to step out of the way so you can see the snow still coming down here in Troy, and actually, Troy schools just posted on Facebook a little bit ago that they're going to be closed for the day. And again, like I just said, when we drove down the street and they were still pretty slippery, I could see why, right? So also, Tip City I saw is just on a 2-hour delay so far, but we'll see if that changes, as the snow continues to come down. Now, I will say we are seeing more cars out on the roads now as we get later into the morning. Look, now you can see about 4 or 5 cars just drove by. So again, be sure to leave extra early if you do have to drive to work this morning. Leave extra early, give yourself plenty of time. The roads still are slick, especially those side streets. Now, if you do take I-70 or I-75, I-75 was pretty clear this morning. So, you're pretty good there. ODOT has been taking care of the major highways, but be extra careful on side streets and try not to go around plow trucks while they're working so hard to keep our roads safe if you can avoid it. Back to you guys.
Our time right now is 6:22. Here's a live look at the roads from our first warning weather vehicle. That's the crash there at 675. Yeah, quite the mess. We've got meteorologist Tim Boyd out on our roadways right now. We can get an update from him just ahead.
You're watching Your Day.
This is a Your Day Code Red Weather Alert.
All right, we are going to be looking at code red weather conditions both today and tomorrow. It is worth pointing out that there is a significant loss of visibility right now over the Miamisburg area. And in particular, the reason why I bring that up is because we do have visual evidence. A, you have that camera, and B, you can actually see on the radar, there it is, those deeper blues just moving in here over the last 10 to 15 minutes. And that little strip right there that moved over German Township, New Lebanon, that is going to move over the greater Dayton area too. So it's likely that Dayton start to see some of the heavier snowfall, or at least a couple minutes of it. We really haven't seen necessarily intense snowfall per se, but we have seen consistent light snowfall across the area. And that's one of the reasons why it is very, very much so treacherous outside, and especially considering that there was snow yesterday and temperatures in the 20s, it's likely to be problematic at times this morning. As for the morning commute, a couple trouble spots that we have. 35 near 835 is the one that I have my attention on. It does look like the right lane may be blocked there. We also had reports of one on I-70 East and I-75 South near Dryden Road. Those seemingly at the present point are not causing any problems, but the biggest of all, I-75 South near 675. Our own Tim Boyd has been there. So Tim, two questions. Number one, any update on the efforts to remove that semi? And B, what is it looking like right now as you look out the window? How is visibility where you are?
Hey Nick, the visibility is definitely reduced in this area. Snow is definitely coming down a little bit heavier, just like you were just saying in your forecast here. Now I'm going to pan over to this truck. And we have another truck that has just showed up to help pull this thing out. So they are working hard to get it out of here so they can get this road back open. You can see that one backing up to the truck. So they're probably going to start pulling this thing out of the ditch any minute now. There was a truck here just a minute ago, had some oil tanks on the back of it. I presume that was to get whatever oil was left inside of the front of the vehicle, the gas area, out of the vehicle so it wouldn't spill anymore. There were reports that it was spilling, but the cargo part itself is completely intact, so nothing coming out of there. But they should be clearing this thing out here any minute now. Hopefully we can get this ramp back open soon. As for roads, definitely still slick, and especially if you're in this area of town, the Miamisburg area, as Nick was just saying, a little bit heavier right now, and the snow is sticking a little bit more quickly, so definitely use caution when you head out.
Our time right now is 6:28, still to come.
We're live in Miami County right now, and coming up, we'll share how roads are looking north of Dayton.
But first, here's Julie Moran with America's Steals and Deals.
The following segment is sponsored by Naki.
I just love my KeySmart Smart Card, and you will never lose your wallet or anything that you value again with KeySmart. And I love that it's as thin as 2 credit cards, so you can put it anywhere. Like if it works for you, put it in your wallet. You can put it in your briefcase. You can put it in a suitcase or a backpack or anything of value that you don't want to lose. Now, say if I drop my wallet in a parking lot, which I've done, I will hear a ringtone once I'm 200 feet away on my phone. And also, if you don't hear it, you'll get an alert on your phone that you've left it behind, and you'll get the exact location. And the smart card uses the Find My iPhone app. It's so easy to set up, and that connects you. And I love that you only have to charge this once a year. The charge lasts for an entire year, so you don't have to keep taking it out and recharging it and redoing it. Well, once I threw my wallet in a garbage can, and if I had had KeySmart, I'd have known where my wallet was before the garbage truck came and it took my wallet away. Then I had to get new credit cards, new license, all of that. It was terrible. Well, right now we're offering 25% off on the KeySmart Smart Card. So we want you to head over to asadeals.com for this absolutely, I just love this, amazing exclusive offer right now.
This is a Your Day Code Red Weather Alert.
As you wake up, we have a code red weather alert this morning for a very snowy start to your day. Here's a live look at the interstates from our ODON cameras. Conditions already causing multiple school closures and delays.
Now, for those of you who still have to go to work or school, we've got live team coverage to help you get there safely.
Yeah, we begin this morning with meteorologist Nick Maruziak. And Nick, what's the rest of the morning like? How long is this going to stick around?
You know, we're tracking the potential for a little bit of a lull, but generally based on radar, it's going to go for a couple of hours here to come. And because of that, there's still going to be the potential for us to pick up more measurable snow. Now let's get down right into the nitty gritty, because this is the raw radar feed. And the reason why I bring this up is you get those deeper, darker blues that become really apparent. That is where we've seen heavy snow showers over Miamisburg and Dayton itself. Probably going to see it in the next little bit. Here's the view. At one point, you could even see this light in the distance. So it has gotten maybe not necessarily better, but it hasn't gotten any worse in Miamisburg. As for this morning, snow falling, biggest concern, as well as slippery conditions. And this afternoon and evening, while the snow may come to an end for the most part, it is still going to be problematic. Speaking of problematic, 35 near 835. So this is you head westbound away from 675. That is where we have an issue. 70 in Ohio 201, incident reported there. 75 near Dryden, incident. None of those are blocking traffic. Where we have seen traffic block is 75 south at 675. And we have meteorologist Tim Boyd there, so we'll check in with him later on in the show.
And we are continuing our live team coverage with a look at the Troy traffic circle. You can see that they've got a nice pathway cleared out, but then you can see as we go off onto these side roads, they're looking a bit spotty.
Yeah, our northern counties getting hit the worst this morning. So let's check in with Lydia Bice. She is live there at the Troy traffic circle. And Lydia, what are you seeing up there in Miami County?
Yeah, you guys guessed exactly right. Now, the traffic circle here is pretty well plowed, and we've seen a plow truck drive by, I think, like 4 or 5 times now, which is really good, right? Keeping the roads safe. But photographer Mickey and I did drive down the street about 20-30 minutes ago, and like Nick just said, slippery conditions. That's exactly right. That's how I would describe it on these side streets. So I'm going to step out of the way, and you can see more cars are driving through here now than there were earlier. I'm sure people are, heading to work now. But again, it's the side streets up here that are really slippery. Obviously, I've said we took 75 up here earlier this morning. 75 was pretty well cleared off. ODOT trucks were working hard, on the main interstates, but it's these side streets that there are some little slippery spots. Of course, there's a bridge right down the street here. We drove over that about 20-30 minutes ago. That was pretty slick, and you always see those signs that say, bridges, ice before roads and everything. So that was pretty slick, that bridge over here outside of the main downtown area. But again, Troy schools, actually, they're closed for the day. And like I said, I can see why. With some slippery conditions out there, you wouldn't want school buses driving on these sort of roads, of course. So Tip City, which is pretty close to here, 2-hour delay right now. We'll see if that changes as the morning goes on. But now we'll send things over to meteorologist Tim Boyd in the weather vehicle. He's out there monitoring the roadways for us. Tim?
Alrighty guys, good morning. If you haven't headed out today yet already to work and or school, if yours wasn't canceled or delayed, roads are a bit slick, as Lydia was just saying. Live shot right now, a little blurry as the snow keeps covering our windshield here, but we have this truck that has driven off of the road at the 675-75 on ramp. They're got a big tank truck out here trying to pull it out. It should be out of here pretty soon. It's a little bit of movement right now as I watch it. But other than that, make sure you're using caution on these roads. The snow, especially in this area, in the Miamisburg area, is coming down pretty fast. So collecting quickly on the surfaces, even on the highway where they have been treating and they have been plowing all morning. Still a little layer of snow on the road. So things are a bit slick, especially on back roads, so when you head out this morning, definitely use some caution.
Thanks, Tim, and we will continue to bring you updates from the Breaking News Center all morning long. To get breaking news push alerts sent directly to your phone, download the Dayton 24/7 app in Google Play and Apple App Stores.
The Uvalde school massacre could have been stopped sooner. That's what the Justice Department says in a nearly 600-page report that is now public. It's been almost 2 years after the Robb Elementary School shooting, 21 people dead. Federal officials say police who responded to the active shooter, quote, demonstrated no urgency, end quote, and didn't handle the active shooter situation properly. Family members of the victims reacting today.
Look forward to seeing the report because we think it will validate a lot of our feelings already as to what transpired and what didn't transpire, what should have happened.
Hopefully that this will bring some changes and some accountability that we have been fighting and asking for since the very beginning.
I hope that the failures end today and that local officials do what wasn't done that day, do right by the victims and survivors of Robb Elementary, terminations, criminal prosecutions.
Kimberly Matarubio's 10-year-old daughter, Lexi, was among the 19 children killed in the 2022 attack. She also urged state and federal leaders to enact sensible gun laws. The DOJ blamed failed communication, failed leadership, inadequate technology, and inadequate training.
In emotional remarks, U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland recounts the 77 minutes officers failed to enter the classroom where Robb Elementary students and teachers were locked in with an active shooter.
The victims and survivors of the mass shooting at Robb Elementary on May 24th, 2022 deserve better. First and foremost, the 19 children and their 2 teachers who were stolen from their loved ones should be here today.
The DOJ report details how many officers didn't know who was in charge, what they should do, or whether the active shooter was dead or alive. They treated the incident as a barricaded suspect instead of an active shooter, which Garland says was the most significant failure. Officers also failed to correctly inform parents about their children's status or properly care for the wounded. Community leaders across the Miami Valley are joining together to combat hunger in the area. The Soup or Bowl of Caring is helping to eliminate child hunger in Dayton. Our partners will be accepting food and monetary donations throughout the area. Those donations will then be distributed to 3 local organizations: the Food Bank, For the Love of Children, or Flock, and the House of Bread. You can help by taking out your phone, scan the QR code to make a donation. You have until February 12th.
Our time right now is 6:40. Don't forget you can get your school closings and delays at the bottom of your screen all morning long, even during commercials.
We now want to give you a live look at the Troy traffic circle this morning. We have all of our team out on the roadways this morning, keeping you safe as you head out the door. A lot of school closings and delays, as Alex just mentioned. A busy start to your morning.
You're watching Your Day.
The Dayton 24/7 Now News app, brought to you by the Jeff Schmidt Auto Group.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Humans making snow angels is common. What about horses? Seems this one's making the equine version near Portland, Maine. Penguins on parade at the Cincinnati Zoo during this week's blast of Arctic weather. Penguins are native to the Antarctic, where temperatures are much colder than the Arctic. And in Chattanooga, this roof-to-ground icicle took shape during this week's wintry weather.
For more content like this, like the National Weather Desk on Facebook.
Our time right now is 6:44. Here's a live look at the roads from the first warning weather vehicle. We have crews out there live. You can see roads are messy. We're keeping you updated throughout the morning.
You're watching Your Day. We have breaking news just into our newsroom. Wright-Patterson Air Force Base will be closed for normal operations today. All morning long, we've been telling you they've been on a 2-hour delay, but now they are indeed closed for the remainder of the day due to snowy conditions and slick, hazardous road conditions. They do note that normal operating hours for base employees will resume on Monday. If you want to get more information, just visit Wright-Pat's website. And of course, we will continue to bring you updates from the Breaking News Center all morning long. To get breaking news push alerts sent directly to your phone, download the Dayton 24/7 Now app in Google Play and Apple App Stores.
This is a Your Day Code Red Weather Alert.
Well, good morning. We have continued to track the snow here across the area. The snow is actually starting to pick up a little bit more steam in portions of the area. That does include the greater Dayton area as well. So I've been trying to use the raw radar feed, because this gives you an idea of just exactly where some of the heavier cells are, or in this case, the heavier lines of snow. So one of them is basically parked over Butler County, southeastern portions of Preble, now moving into southwest Montgomery. The other is almost directly over the top of the Montgomery and Dayton area. So here's what it looks like right for this second as you look over the greater Miamisburg area. This has been a morning where we have had some really intense bands of snow. Now, meanwhile, it may not be quite as snowy, but it's still pretty snow covered as you look out towards Dayton. Again, when you start losing the city sight lines, that's, I believe, under a mile visibility. So we are talking about half-mile visibility, maybe, mile and a half visibility, 2 miles over portions of the area. A lot of the snow will start to leave as we get towards mid to late morning hours. From there, just a strip of snow or two during those evening hours. So again, today, by and large, is all going to be concentrated right on the morning. And then from there, yeah, there still could be a snow shower. And certainly those heavier snow showers can be capable of producing a quick 1/4 inch. But it's going to be the widespread snow that's going to be the biggest problem. For tomorrow, it's not snow. It's bitter cold. We have issued a code red for today due to the snow, and tomorrow it is due to the fact that we do expect there to be bitter cold temperatures. Now, if you are traveling this morning, we've got multiple issues out on the roads, and it does look like 35 west near Steve Whalen may be backing things up towards Woodman. Woodman's actually backed up all the way towards 675. Meanwhile, fall out to the east, Highway 72 south at Fish Worm Road, and then to the southeast, Centerville Road, Ferry. And of course, we're tracking I-675, the on-ramp from 75 south. So that's I-75 south onto 675. There is a big delay there because they are clearing a semi that was overturned. It does look like they are still doing that based on our cams over at Lyons Road.
Our time right now is 6:52. You're watching Your Day.
This is a Your Day Code Red Weather Alert.
Well, we are still continuing to see snow across the area. The heaviest snow, Dayton and points south. Actually, Troy, Greenville, Sydney area may have been an area where we did get hit earlier this morning, but consistently it has been a pouring snow, if you will, down south. And based on this next line that is moving in towards or moving over the Hamilton area, we could be doing for more periods of heavier snow. One thing that we should be keeping our eyes on, of course, is out to the west. Now, this is a little bit more of a computerized version of our model, but it does give you an idea that there is at least some signs that there may be an embedded drier period. There you see one of them, but that actually ended up moving further to the north. So instead of coming in over Dayton, and it's now pushing up towards Greenville, Salina area, maybe, just maybe, there may be a period where we don't get quite as snow, or perhaps Dayton ends up the big beneficiary depending on your perspective. For today, temperatures will be somewhere in the 20s. By the afternoon and evening, we'll see a lot of the snow showers come to a close, although there will likely be a strip coming in off of Lake Michigan. Tonight, this is the big storyline we're following after the snow. -10 to -20 wind chills. We are going to be looking at temperatures in a single digits. It is going to be another brutal, and I'm using that term, brutally cold morning, especially if you have to be out and about outside. Sunday, a little bit better despite a cold start. But again, today, our focus continues to remain on the snow and the subsequent impact to your morning commute. Speaking of that morning commute, we have had multiple issues this morning. The first and foremost is right at 75, at 675. And now I'm just looking at the Lyons Road picture, and it does look like there may be an incident right in that area as you come in off of the exit ramp there. You can see vehicles in the left shoulder, so there may be problems there. But again, 75, 675, one of the problem spots. 35 west over by Steve Whalen. Then a couple of other crashes as you head towards the Xenia, Centerville area. So again, very busy morning as you head out the door for right now.
We're continuing our live team coverage with a look at road conditions right now. You can see some are looking a little bit clearer than others, but definitely keep this in mind as if you have to head out the door this morning because roads are slick.
Yeah, my truck was fishtailing a little bit when I was driving in.
Same with my Jeep.
Quite the headache. Let's check in with Lydia Bai. She is live in Miami County this morning at the Troy Traffic Circle. And Lydia, cars have been driving behind you all morning long. Are they struggling in the snow?
Now, luckily, these cars are driving slow, which is good. They're taking our advice. They're driving slow right now. What I will say is it seems to be snowing way harder than it was during my last live shot right now. It's blowing into my face. It's coming down way harder. I'm going to step out of the way so I can show you the flagpole over here in the middle of the little Troy Square in downtown Troy here. You can see, look at the flurries coming down. The wind's blowing. Probably why it seems like it's coming down extra hard. It was kind of blowing into my face, but yes, we're seeing more cars out on the roads now. I'm sure people are heading to work and whatnot. The school district is closed up here in Troy, so luckily the kiddos got to go back to sleep this morning, but yes, more cars out on the road. Our photographer Mickey and I drove down the street probably about an hour ago now, and the side streets were slick in some spots for sure. So be extra careful on the side streets. I know we've seen Troy plow trucks driving around